Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to talk about this topic, which is talking about if you feel like you were failed by the fertility world. So I'm going to talk about 3 points. First one is, did they take adequate labs of you? Second one is, are you actually ovulating? And then three is, was your husband ever tested? Okay, so the first point is talking about, did they do adequate labs? And what I mean by this is there's actually a difference between normal labs and functional labs. Let's use the example of like a vitamin D. So one of my mentors had mentioned that your typical vitamin D levels are supposed to be around 30-ish, maybe up to 40-ish, but really functionally, the way you function best is around 70 or more. So if you are not having those labs taken and looked at it from a functional way versus normal way, then it could be looked at wrong. Most of the time, too, they're doing all these little tiny tests, but your labs can change minute to minute. There's only a couple of things that looking for like in your test that are what we consider ecosystem labs, and those are ones that don't change much when things change within your body. So let's just use an example. If you decided to walk outside and you were about to walk across the street and all of a sudden this car comes zooming by and you almost got hit by it and you take a huge step back, if I had just left from labs and I went back in and took another set of labs, they would be totally different, right? I would have all these stress responses, stress hormones, all different kinds of numbers in my labs because they don't stay consistent. Let's just say I dealt with my kid after a temper tantrum. My labs before this temper tantrum and after the temper tantrum are not going to be the same. So if we can look at a couple of labs that are specific for your body as a whole, again, those ecosystem labs, then that's what we're looking for. So it could be that in the fertility world, you might have been feeling failed by it because they weren't looking at your body in the right way. All right, point number two is, are you actually ovulating? I think a lot of people say that they are, but do you know if you really are? Are you having a cycle between 21 and 35 days? Or are you having one that's too early or one that's super long? If it's before or after that 21 to 35 day range, there's a very high chance that either you didn't have a long enough cycle where you couldn't even ovulate, or you were so long that you didn't ovulate even one bit. And I also think a lot of people aren't familiar with their cycles, which, if you actually follow along more for future videos, I'm going to explain what a normal cycle is supposed to be. So, but anyway, all of that to say is most of the time they're going to put you in a 28-day cycle realm. And if your body is closer to that 21 day or closer to the 35 day, it'll be a much higher chance that you will fail in the fertility world. All right, last point, point number three, is talking about if your husband has been tested. I think the thing that makes me so sad to learn about in the fertility world is that they focus only on us as women. And don't get me wrong, we're important because we carry the baby and grow the baby. But if you've learned from previous videos, 60% of the active genes come from the dad and 40% come from mom. So if they are not looking at your husband at all or your spouse at all, then they're doing only 40% of their job. So and also if you're doing a semen analysis, that's only a really, really small look at the global body and how it's actually working. Also, fun fact, most of the time, if they are checking the spouse, their semen analysis, it could range from being only 4 to 48% normal to be considered normal labs. So, for example, morphology, you could only have 4% morphology, meaning like if your sperm is shaped right. If it's split in two at the top or at the bottom, or it's oddly shaped, if you only have 4% that are normal, you are normal, which is so crazy to me. So, if you are not getting looked at as a spouse, I would highly consider it. And the work that I do here is a perfect example of me looking at both you and your significant other. All right, the last thing that I want to just mention is that your journey does not end here, and you are not defined by the diagnosis that you have received. The journey continues on from here, and I'm here to help you with those things. So, I'm certified in Schaefer Protocol, and it is work that helps you and your spouse prepare for baby before it comes. So, if you want to learn more, I'm going to post the information below, or if you want to schedule a 15-minute consult with me to just talk about things, I'm here for you too, and I will also post that below. Don't forget to turn those notifications on and subscribe below and like below.